Boro's winning run of 5 games in a row come to a halt and didn't make it to a 6th as we lost 2-0 away to West Brom at the Hawthorns, which wasn't the worst news of the day given the fact that results elsewhere literally couldn't have gone any worse.
As the Uruguayan curls one in. Oh, Middlesbrough take the lead!
What is up guys, Matthew here and welcome to another episode of Project Boro here today as I'm going to be discussing the defeat away to West Brom at the Hawthorns 2-0 after a Daryl DK double in the first 10 minutes of this game. Boro's first defeat in 6 after we'd won 5 on the bounce, our first defeat since the Sunderland defeat, which on paper isn't a bad thing. It isn't a bad thing that we've lost our first game in 5. I mean, how many teams win 6 in a row very often? So, the fact that we've not won is obviously a blow. Not the biggest blow, this will happen. But in terms of other results, they could not have went any worse. Literally, they couldn't have gone any worse. And that is why a lot of the hard work in recent weeks has kind of been cancelled out. And Boro aren't back to square one by any means when it comes to the chase for automatic promotion, but we can't have too many weekends like this. And performance-wise, results-wise, I think as well, with results going against us like they did, it's probably not going to happen very often, but it's being a very, very damaging weekend for Boro. We lost 2-0. As I say, first 10 minutes, the game was pretty much over and done with between us and West Brom. Daryl DK scoring in both the 8th and 10th minute. The first goal, a well-worked goal, maybe hints of offside. I don't think it was offside personally. It was a good through ball into Jed Wallace, I believe, who squares it to DK, who is between centre-backs. Neither Lenihan or McNair were close enough to DK to prevent him from putting the ball in the back of the net on 8 minutes, which was the perfect start for West Brom. Not a good start for Boro, but it got worse pretty much straight after that. On 10 minutes, a pretty good move, I've got to say, from West Brom. A good one-touch football move played in DK, again between defenders. His finish initially wasn't a very good one, but Zach Steffen, with a really poor save, I've got to say, parries it right back into the path of DK. He could have parried it to his left, parried it to his right, but he parried it straight into the path of the striker who had a tap in to make it 2. And when you're away from home at a team like West Brom, a team who, yes, they've not been in the greatest of form overall, but at the Hawthorns at least, I think they've unbeaten in 6 at home, now 7. When you're 2-0 down after 10 minutes, you've pretty much gave yourself an impossible hill to climb. And as good as Boro have been in the last couple of games, we've averaged over 2 goals a game. Yeah, it was always going to be a very, very tough ask getting back into this one with a coach like Carlos Corberán on the other side of the touchline, who is a very, very good coach. A very good coach. He absolutely, did a masterclass on us last season when he brought his Huddersfield team, who, I don't know if they're underachieving this season or they massively overachieved last year, but he come to the Riverside last season, absolutely just tactical masterclass Boro off the pitch that day when Huddersfield come and beat us 2-1. And I always have real hesitations about Corberán when we come up against his teams because he just has the ability to always throw something. I don't know, he can always stop us, he can always make sure his teams are just too hard to beat and Boro can never break them down, and that's exactly what happened with all the attacking prowess we've had, all the great goals scoring, games we've had of late, the great form we're in. We just never looked like we were gonna ever get back into this game. It would have took something monumental. It would have took a West Brom collapse for them to let us back into this game. And to be fair to them, they defended exceptionally well for the remainder of the game. Didn't really let us get into our flow. We weren't at it anyway, so it was all about them just controlling and managing the game from that moment on, and that's exactly what they did. We had a few chances. The best chance came for Isaiah Jones at the very end. He maybe should have done better, but yeah, it was all probably already way too late for anything to possibly be turned around. It gave them a nervy final few minutes, but yeah, not a good day for Boro. Expected goals, we had just over 1, they had 1.85. More shots on target, more big chances. We had all the possession, but we didn't really do anything with it. It was a disappointing day at the office for Boro, and a one-off, yes. A defeat is never nice. No shame losing at the Hawthorns, it has to be said, but yeah, it's a damaging defeat for Boro, but mostly it's a damaging defeat due to what happened elsewhere, which was every other possible team won who is chasing us, barring maybe Sunderland, who lost in the early kickoff, but Luton went to Birmingham, won 1-0. Burnley battered Huddersfield 4-0, even though we shouldn't really count Burnley as a rival at this point. Norwich beat Cardiff 2-0. Blackburn won 3-1 at QPR. Sheffield United beat Watford. I guess Watford are a team who have dropped points, but you'd rather, Sheffield United drop points than them. Sheffield United won a narrow game with an own goal, 1-0, and Millwall also picked up all 3 points, winning at Stoke. So the gap has been closed pretty much as much as it possibly could have this weekend. You can see on the right-hand side, the only team who didn't win in the top 7 this weekend was Boro. So the gap to Sheffield United is back to 7 points. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not at the huge gap that it was when we played them, or before we played them a couple of weeks ago, which of course was double digits. So 7 points is still, not the end of the world. It's still more than catchable. They have that game in hand though, so it could rise to 10. So yeah, it's a damaging day for Boro. It couldn't have gone much worse. And all of a sudden, we're looking over our shoulders. And that is the crazy nature of this league. We've won 5 in a row. We look like we're the most informed team in the league since the World Cup. One defeat, and suddenly you're looking over your shoulder because Blackburn Rovers have won 3 in a row. They're now only 2 points behind us. You've got Millwall, who are on great form at the moment. Game in hand, they win that. They're a point behind us. Luton Town, same as them, win their game in hand. They're a point behind us. And then the gap to Norwich is now down to, 5 points. So another bad round of results, 1 or 2 round results, could see us really looking over our shoulders to even be in the playoffs, which is crazy when you think about it. But I don't think there's any room to panic. No reason to panic whatsoever following this result. I'm still more than confident that Boro will get themselves a playoff place at the very least. Automatics still, I think, is on, albeit not as likely as it was, of course, a week ago. But yeah, next weekend we've got Reading at home. A game, no disrespect to Reading, we should be looking to win. We should be looking to win all of our home games, in all honesty, and 3 of our next 4 are at home. And all of them, I think, are more than winnable, with Reading, Stoke and Preston, and then a trip to Swansea, who are not in a great vein of form. But it's always somewhere you've got to be a little bit careful of travelling. So there's no reason why we can't pick up 10 points for our next 4, maybe even maximum. You then look at the Huddersfield game away from home. Normally, I would back Boro to win that every day of the week, but Neil Warnock's in charge of Huddersfield, former Boro manager. There's just a script ready to be written there. So yeah, I'd expect Boro to be winning 4 of their next 5 at the very least, and that would put us right back in the driving seat once again. After that, Burnley, Bristol City, Norwich, 3 very, very, very difficult games. I still think there is more than a good enough chance that Boro can pick up the form. And let's not forget, they did win this weekend, Sheffield United, and fair play to them. But they travel to Blackburn next weekend in a very, very tough game. Blackburn are in great form. The team above us playing the team below us. You can probably cancel out the away trip to Reading, which I believe might be their game in hand, so we need Reading to do a job there. But then, Luton, Sunderland, West Brom, Norwich, a tough run for them. Wigan, bit of respite before they go to Turf Moor. So yeah, this has been a damaging week for us, and it's one to definitely forget. But every time Boro have lost under Michael Carrick, we've literally bounced straight back. Every single time. You look at the last couple of defeats we had. We lost to Sunderland in what was a very, very below average performance. We went on a great run and won our next 5. Even after the very, very humbling defeat to Brighton, we went on to beat Millwall, which, as you can see, Millwall are a great team, no easy team to beat. And even after his initial defeat against Preston, we went on to go and beat in our next 6. We lost to Burnley, we won straight after that, beating Wigan 4-1. So what I will say is Boro are good at responding under Michael Carrick. We don't sit and sulk, we pick ourselves up pretty quickly. So I'm confident that we can pick ourselves back up and get back to winning ways next week against Reading and pick up the baton and charge towards the top two once again. It is a little bit worrying. We are looking over our shoulders slightly at the moment, just with the good form of Blackburn Millwall. But if I'm honest, if the playoffs were tomorrow, would I fear Blackburn, Millwall or Luton in the playoffs? I wouldn't. I wouldn't fear any of them. The away legs would be tough at all three grounds, but I would definitely back Boro to do the job over them three. So it's not a bad position to be in. I think for me, if I could have it my own way and Boro weren't to get in the top two, this would be the playoffs I would look at. I wouldn't want Norwich, Watford or Sunderland in there. I wouldn't want West Brom in there. So yeah, it's the table shaping up quite interestingly. 12 games to go. Still plenty of points to play for, and it can swing. It can swing extremely quickly, as we saw after the Sheffield United win. So yeah, a difficult weekend for Boro, but not one I'm getting too upset about. It's kind of I guess it's a backhanded compliment as to how far this team has come. That one defeat after 5 wins in a row, you don't really feel that upset. You don't feel that sad about it. It's just a bump in the road that hopefully we'll recover from, and that will start next weekend. So, yeah, it's a tough one. One thing I will say, before I do forget about this, one thing I will say about Carrick, I didn't understand his selection in terms of Paddy McNair starting over Dale Fry. I thought when it comes to playing up against a really physical striker like Daryl Dike, you would want a physical, tall centre-back in there to compete with him, and I thought Dale Fry would have been that perfect option. He has been rotating McNair and Fry quite often. So yeah, my only criticism of Carrick would be that he didn't start Dale Fry over McNair. But yeah, them first 10 minutes, I don't think it was anything aerially that caused the problem, in all honesty. I think both goals were well worked, and Stefan was definitely to blame for one of them. Yeah, Stefan, always the argument, do his pros outweigh his cons? I think they do, but he did cost us a goal in this one. But nevertheless, we'll bounce back next week and hopefully get back to winning ways at home to Reading. So let me know your thoughts on this performance in the comments section below if you are a Boro fan or not. Do like this video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and hit that bell so you never miss a video here on the channel. I will be back with another episode of Project Boro after next weekend's game at home to Reading. And of course, do keep up to date on the channel, as I do have a Michael Carrick career mode on FIFA going on the channel currently. And if you want much more top analysis from the best Boro fans around, do check out this week's edition of the Boro Breakdown podcast, as Dana and Tom will be discussing this defeat in much more detail than me. But thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.